That coverage, sitting here looking at coverage on Hurricane Milton, scrolling through TikTok, looking for clips about Hurricane Milton. And I want to say we are living in a wicked world. Reason I'm saying this is because how is it possible that these people are in a crisis and you have other people trying to capitalize off of them being in a crisis? And what am I talking about? People are trying to evacuate Florida. They don't have places to go. Airbnbs are raising their prices. Hotels are raising their prices. Come on, man. Like, why are we like this? Then, if you want to get technical, airports. A regular flight from Florida to wherever might be $200-$300. Airports are charging $1,000, $800, $1,400 for flights. This is what we doing in America right now. And to top it off, what's going on with FEMA? Some people are on the verge of losing everything that they work for, everything that they own, and y'all trying to take advantage of that. That's crazy, man.
I'm scared, man. And then we still recovering from Helene, and it's like, bro, I want to get this off my chest, bro. This government is playing in our faces, man. It don't matter if it's Republican or Democrat. They playing in our faces, bro. You get Ukraine come over here, they get what they want. You get immigrants come over here, they get what they want. And you got people being denied these FEMA applications that you talking about the other day, Charlamagne. People being denied, bro. But you getting these migrants coming over here, $10,000 food stamps, bro. Fuck your goddamn $5,000 gas stipends, man. This shit hurting, bro. We finna get ready to damn near die, bro. A lot of people couldn't afford to evacuate. And this government playing in our fucking face, man.
Damn. I totally understand, my brother. Absolutely.
It don't matter what they is, Democrat, Republican, they all treason, man. They all about money, bro. None of these people care about American people, bro. This shit hurt, bro. This shit hurt, bro. People wake up every day just want to live their life, bro. And you got these fucking green snakes, man. You got these fucking green snakes. Call themselves government service people, bro. And they don't give a damn, bro. They don't give a damn about the migrants coming over here. They using them too, man. This shit ain't right, man.
You're absolutely right, my
Damn, I can't wait so much, man.
I mean, you hear what he said? He said you can't wait till God come back. He's absolutely 100% right. Because at some point, I don't know who else can help a lot of people other than the Most High. But we're praying for you, brother.
The Department of Justice on Tuesday charged an Afghan national with conspiring to carry out a terror attack on Election Day. In a statement, Attorney General Merrick Garland says, quote, the Justice Department foiled the defendant's plot to acquire semi-automatic weapons and commit a violent attack in the name of ISIS. CBS News Justice Department reporter Rob Legary joins us now. So what do we know, Rob, about the suspect and these charges?
Hey, good afternoon, John, or good evening, John. Thanks for having me. So the criminal complaint was just filed in federal court in Oklahoma, and we're just reading over this 28-page criminal complaint. And what we're learning is that Tawhidi was an Afghan national who was led into the United States in 2021 on a special immigrant visa. And prosecutors allege that he and a co-conspirator, who they describe as his wife's brother, so his brother-in-law, were a subscriber to ISIS ideology and consumed ISIS propaganda. They allege that the defendant and his co-conspirator, who's not named in charging documents, sought to carry out an election day attack here in the U.S. in the name of ISIS by doing many things: purchasing weapons, selling their family home, working to repatriate their family, back to other countries across the world to make sure that they weren't in the United States. And I just want to read a portion here from the criminal complaint. He further stated that he and his co-conspirator sought to obtain weapons and purchased AK-47 rifles for the purpose of conducting firearms training and committing an attack on Election Day, targeting large gatherings of people. So prosecutors arrested him yesterday, and they said following his arrest, he basically explained the plan of his attack. Prosecutors, the Justice Department said today that he made his first appearance in federal court and will likely remain in custody. John.
Rob, do we have any sense, I know it's quite early in this, but do we have any sense whether this was a lone wolf operation or whether there's any larger connection, anything in the filing that suggests anything other than these two participants?
Sure. So what we do know is that there were some communications on Telegram with other individuals named here. They are not charged, but there was some communication here. What we do know is that the defendant and his co-conspirator, who appeared to be his brother-in-law, were consuming ISIS ideology and professing their commitment to that cause.
And finally, does it seem like this was far down the lane or that they were in the preliminary sort of planning stages? I mean, on the one hand, it sounds like they were making efforts to get people out of town and do that kind of thing, which seems like they were pretty far down the operation. On the other hand, they were just getting the weapons. What do we know about where they were in terms of the timeline?
Right. Well, the FBI director came out with a statement saying that his agents were able to come and stop this attack before anybody was hurt. We're about a month out, less than a month out from Election Day. And so this is a serious threat that the FBI and the Justice Department clearly take seriously. We have statements from the FBI director and the Attorney General announcing this arrest. And we do know that federal officials and state officials have been on guard for certain threats from abroad over the last few months. The FBI director has said in the recent months that he has never seen this many red lights flashing on the threat environment as he has seen in the last few months. And so this is clearly something that federal officials have been watching for. What we don't know really is, to your point, how far along in their planning were they? They clearly were seeking to obtain weapons, seeking to sell their house, but federal investigators reveal that the person they were trying to sell their house to was a confidential human source with the FBI. The person they were allegedly trying to buy their weapons from was an undercover agent. And so how far along? Well, we'll probably see in the next few weeks and months as the court proceedings carry on.
You're my best friend. Best friend I ever fucking had. And I'm fucking proud of you.
Shalom. First thing and foremost, I want to give all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh.
This should be on news everywhere. So Sacramento County has gone woke because our 5 county board representatives just voted to establish a universal basic income pilot program that serves people of color but does not serve white people. And I also found that Hispanics were left out. So if you're poor in Sacramento County, if you live under the federal poverty line, you can now receive $725 per month payments for 12 months. That is unless your family happens to be a poor white family. This is so disgraceful. These people are getting money from the state to do this. No wonder why it's racist. It's because they're getting money from Gavin Newsom. They're getting money from the state legislature. These 5 people, as you will see on this screen, voted unanimously to do this. And on top of this peak racism, illegal immigrants will be eligible for this money. So if someone comes to this country illegally, that does not impact their eligibility for one of these 200 slots to get money from the government. There are plenty of poor American families that could use one of these 200 slots, but no, let's just give it away to people who came here illegally. Great job, Sacramento. You should be very proud of yourself.
So, y'all, here I am, sitting in the bed, y'all, writing in my little journal and getting my to-do list done for later on, y'all. And I'm strolling, just minding my business, y'all, and I come up on this not once, not twice, but 3 times in a row, so I have to speak on it, y'all. So they say Canadian people of Canada have decided to stop paying their bills as a whole, y'all, because they're not pleased with how the economy has changed. They're not pleased with the cost of things. They're not pleased with the inflation at all. So as a whole, Canadian people got together and they stopped paying their bills, y'all. So Canada ain't paying no bills. Why we in America can't get together and do it, y'all? All of us on here, well, I can't say all of us because I can't speak for everybody, but I can speak for myself when I say I'm a single parent who works 2 jobs, not one, but 2 jobs, y'all, and I dabble in social media, and sometimes ends still don't meet for me. I'm around here using Afterpay, Kelowna, Zip, or Firm, and all this stuff to make ends meet in my household because things have went up so dramatically. Prices of things is so crazy, y'all. The Canadian people came together, y'all, and they said enough is enough, baby, and they quit paying them bills, baby. They say forget that. Until their government get it together, they ain't paying no bills. Us Americans need to be doing the same thing, but no, we were out here worrying about the presidential election. We were out here worrying about the Super Bowl and who performing. We were out here worrying about the Dallas Cowboys playing the Saints tomorrow. Who that? We worrying about these things instead of, not paying these bills so this government can get together and drop these prices back down so we can afford things again. That's all I'm saying.
Both the Elk Fire and the Pack Trail Fire have already burned over 100,000 acres of Wyoming land. The meteorologists at the National Weather Service office in Cheyenne say this is anything but typical for October in Wyoming.
This time of the year, we start to cool down and get into some more fall-like weather, cooler temperatures, and maybe even some snowfall, but that's not the case this year.
In October of 2023, Wyoming had already seen its first snowfall of the year. Now this year looks a lot different with record high temperatures across the Cowboy State, 2 major fires, and no precipitation in sight for at least the next week. Meteorologist Josh Sandstrom says there's not much change in the coming weeks.
We may see a little bit of a cold front come through over the weekend, but it's going to be pretty dry. Really not looking at much precipitation chances, if any, with that at all.
Kelly Norris is a forester for the state of Wyoming and says that the high winds ramping up in the evening is hampering the containment efforts.
The Elk Fire, some of the largest fire activity, biggest runs were occurring after midnight, and that just compounded everything more because we don't fly aviation resources at night. So it put quite a bit of challenges on the ground in the dark for wildland firefighters.
Kelly added this extended fire season has put a toll on Wyoming firefighters.
We are usually in hunting season right now, and we are in firefighting season. Our volunteer fire departments have tirelessly gone out day after day onto calls.
Kelly says all these fires need is a little help from the weather.
These fires are so large now, they're weather driven, and we just need a reprieve in that weather.
Something just blew. There's no houses up in there, all right?
No, don't think so.
I wonder what started. I can guess.
So what does that look like? Well, let's show you. Imagine this. Imagine 3 feet of storm surge right here. Now, if this amount of water catches you by surprise, it's too late to evacuate. Cars are floating around.
It just keeps getting worse. The same thing that they did to the South is the same thing they're about to do to Florida. They've sent these evacuation notices and trapped people in the state of Florida where this hurricane is going. So they can't leave. But you want them to evacuate. But you stop all flights out of Tampa, Orlando. You're canceling everything. So how can these people evacuate? Knowing that they can't get on the road and drive because it's going to be bumper to bumper of people trying to leave. This shit is getting crazier and crazier. You got people still stranded on mountaintops. When people try to go and help them, they get threatened with jail time or getting arrested. Our government has failed us. And how much more are we going to take? How much more are we going to let a government that does not care about us destroy where we love and call home? This is the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. You got civilians out there flying helicopters trying to save people, and you're stopping them. You got helicopters that are going and destroying food hubs where people are trying to help people, and you're dropping down and blowing away tents and shit. Yo, this is beyond me. That just lets me know that whatever is about to come and whatever is about to happen, they don't give no shit about the American people. None whatsoever. It doesn't matter the color now. Doesn't matter if you're black, doesn't matter if you're white, doesn't matter if you're Hispanic, whatever. They don't care. It does not matter. What do you guys think of that? How does that make you feel? And they're doing the same thing to Florida. Telling these people we want you to evacuate, and then airports aren't letting flights out. This is a sad, sad time. I don't know what to say anymore. People are dead. And they're watching their family hang from trees from this storm and floating, piling up in people's yards. Is that the America we signed up for? That's not what I signed up for.
That scientists and researchers are looking at how to change the weather on purpose. That's right. Lasers now could one day manipulate rain and lightning. CBS This Morning contributor Michio Kaku is a physics professor at City College of New York. Professor, nice to see you. Extraordinary seeing Al Gore and Bill Clinton there together with Charlie, wasn't it?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, they did not get into this discussion, though. But it is fascinating. I mean, lasers, really? To change the weather?
That's right. Well, as Mark Twain once famously said, everyone complains about the weather, but no one ever does anything about it. Well, instead of doing a rain dance, we physicists are firing trillion-watt lasers into the sky to actually precipitate rain clouds and actually bring down lightning bolts. This is potentially a game changer.
But this is experimental.
It's experimental. However, in the laboratory so far it works. When you have water vapor and you have dust particles or ice crystals, you can precipitate rain. It condenses around the seeds. seeds. These seeds can also be created by laser beams. By firing trillion-watt lasers, you rip apart the electrons, creating what are called ions, and these ions act like seeds, like dust particles, bringing down rain and even lightning.
Katie, go ahead.
Well, this fascinates me in part because, too, I remember reading the stories that China had used this during the Olympics, that the USSR had used this after Chernobyl to create rain clouds. I mean, did those really work then? We have some of these capabilities now?
Inconclusive. Even in the 60s, the CIA used this to bring down monsoons during the Vietnam War, to wash out the Viet Cong. Governments have been playing with this thing.
Alleged to.
Alleged to, right.
Yeah.
Now, we realize that for decades now, these governments have been alleged to have experimented with weather control, but nothing conclusive. This time we're bringing in the laws of physics rather than simply waving our hands and uttering mumbo jumbo. We're actually using trillion-watt lasers now. And in the laboratory, sure enough, they precipitate rain out of water vapor. Sure enough, you can actually bring down electricity down the beam.
So what does it mean for drought areas that need to have rain for crops, and if they don't have them, there's the consequences of famine?
Well, the bad news is if it's a clear blue sky, it's not going to do anything at all because it only takes water vapor that's already in the air and condenses it. However, for floods, for agriculture, farmers, for people planning wedding parties, football games, you name it, outdoor events and agriculture and flooding and even hurricanes, all of them could be subject to weather modification.
A part of that plan, of course, is to induce the gradual surrender of American sovereignty, piece by piece and step by step, to various international organizations, of which the United Nations is the outstanding but far from the only example. Here are the aims for the United States. 1, greatly expanded government spending for every conceivable means of getting rid of ever larger sums of American money as wastefully as possible. 2, higher and then much higher taxes. 3, an increasingly unbalanced budget, despite the higher taxes. 4, wild inflation of our currency. 5, government controls of prices, wages, and materials, supposedly to combat inflation. 6, greatly increased socialistic controls over every operation of our economy and every activity of our daily lives. This is to be accompanied, naturally and automatically, by a correspondingly huge increase in the size of our bureaucracy and in both the cost and reach of our domestic government. 7, far more centralization of power in Washington and the practical elimination of our state lines. There is a many-faceted drive at work to have our state lines eventually mean no more within the nation than our county lines do now within the states. 8, the steady advance of federal aid to and control over our educational system, leading to complete federalization of our public education. 9, a constant hammering into the American consciousness of the horror of modern warfare, the beauties and the absolute necessity of peace. Peace always on communist terms, of course. And 10, the consequent willingness of the American people to allow the steps of appeasement by our government, which amount to a piecemeal surrender of the rest of the free world.